How's it going, everyone? Session here. Welcome to a Final Fantasy XIV video. I really wanted to take the time right now to kind of go through the inevitable. Yo, this song is so sick, dude. First and foremost, let me just knock that out real quick. Dog. All right, sorry. This song is so addictingly so good, I can't even handle it. Yo, hold on a second, brother. Okay. So, considering M6, okay, we have ourselves Cruiserweight M2, aka M6 normal, and what this video is gonna be, before the music took over, is a theoretical construct about what we may be expecting with the Savage version. So, there's a lot of things that we get to cover and look into and really think about it. Now, let me first off say, like, that song is gonna be tough to go through. One thing that we've been kind of talking about over the course of time, right, is the fact that, like, they've been really trying to avoid having the boss debuff looking at stuff. So you actually have to pay attention to the arena and also what the boss is doing a lot. And I actually like that a lot. So I'm actually really, like, happy to see this come into fruition and also still offer, like, the challenge that we've been looking for like quite a while, which is really cool. So I'm really intrigued how they're going to go about this, actually, because I think that there's like a lot of ways that they can actually like execute the mechanic, right? So that was like the AoE that we were aware of, and then Sugar Rice's primary mechanic, of course, is the fact that she's a graffiti artist. So she has like a mural, she starts painting stuff and kind of like using like the air guns to kind of make that happen. Now, one thing I had a experience with going through it, so obviously with this, right, she pops down bombs and causes it to occur, which is cool actually. So you kind of get that idea, which I like. Now, I'm heavily under the impression that we're gonna end up seeing her create like different styles of stuff, which I'm actually like really excited for. I feel like the variance of this could actually be very immense. It's kinda unsure, right? So I'm not too sure either, but like we'll find out for sure, right? Now, like, you know, we've had combinations for we have the arrows, we have the bombs, we have flying bombs, and you know, I think that being able to combine these often is going to require like a, you know, again, like a shift, if you will, which again I'm looking forward to it. And this target thing also is going to be very fascinating. So one thing I'm really keeping an eye out for, I would say, is just the fact that, like, mechanically the execution even for this is like kind of fast for like a normal version, which is a good thing. But I think on top of that though, like, I'm wondering like if they're going to execute speed versus like randomization, you know? So for me, at least so far, it just seems like that the fight actually has a mixture of both with M6. There is a combination of both variants in terms of like how you do stuff, but also there's going to be a lot of mechanical execution with what gets randomized. Now the normal version has inquired this, right, which I'm really happy about, but to see how it comes into the Savage version, I'm kind of expecting it to have like a limited pattern thing, so like we will see. But you know, I don't want to like digress into it too far, right? And then she actually uses the painting in the background to change the arena, which is actually very fascinating. We did get like a little bit of a hint of this as well during the like presentation during the live letter like trailer, which is like cool. But then she starts layering things over, and this is what I was not prepared for. And the fact that she actually incorporates like a area of effect dot over time thing, I'm really wondering how that's going to play itself out going into the like later portions of the mechanic, because you'll notice it too, like you have to actually either keep an eye out for what that is or like memorize the possible patterns, but I don't think that you're going to want to really do that. So, and I think that like the fact that this mechanic is here as well, like, to put the cacti out on the board, it's actually inquiring you to like be prepared for mechanical like everything, right? And where they appear, like right now it feels random, which is cool, but I'm wondering if they're going to maintain that randomization going into the Savage version. I almost feel like there could be like a pattern where you run like in a circle or like a line or something, right? So I'm hoping that they don't actually incorporate that. Wouldn't be my favorite thing, but we'll find out for sure. Because the previous raid tier had a habit of like it causing that, right? So we'll see. But also then they have this pit, which is very interesting. And notice how the corners are the safe spots. So I'm really wondering how that's going to come into play. And then there's like a leftover pit on the south side. Now I can tell you that I did go back and do this fight in particular, and that pit is actually appeared on the north side. So it does make me wonder, like, you know, in terms of placement of mechanical execution going this, you know, in certain locations, I feel like there is a high likelihood that like what happens does change actually. So I'm looking forward to seeing that come into place with the Savage version. I think that this fight has the potential to be like one of the more challenging, if you will, like more challenging fights, just because of the amount of change that occurs with this. And you know, we kind of got like that teaser a bit as well in the Savage, or sorry, the normal version, where you know there's gonna be two different like levels of paint that's used, I guess you could say. But I think at the same time though, I'm wondering if they're gonna hide like a third one, if you will. Like I'd be kind of surprised by it if they didn't do that, but I'm kind of sort of under the impression that they've decided to make sure that, you know, you are required to be attentive to the board, because what they use, you know, they'll probably do like the fire one and then like a mechanic, then the water one, and then like a thing, and then like a third one maybe, or they'll do that same thing but just backwards, right? So that way you're kind of able to change it up and mix it back, you know, back and forth. But again, I'm not too sure though. This stack mechanic hits like kind of like, you know, it was mitigated really well by the party, so not like the worst thing to deal with, but I'm expecting that to be a much more challenging mechanic to execute because it's going to happen during some other thing. Now, here's my thing as well. I want to quickly, like, briefly pause this. The desert version of the painting that they applicated, while there was a lot going on, I actually think that there's more to that we're not fully ready for or like expecting to see. So I'm sure that there's a mechanic that's missing for that desert one and this river one. The river one, however, actually showcases, I think, a lot of more possibility. And again, when I revisited this fight, I actually felt a variance in the differentiation, because like thunder goes off here, but there could be like a fire option, because when I stepped inside the water, it actually changed my resistance to fire versus my resistance to water, and I noticed that too. So it makes me realize that, like, you know, you have to actually be mindful of that. But like we'll see when we get there, right? So I do think that a lot of people are under the impression that there's these twos, right? We have the river, we have the desert, and there could potentially be like a third one, but I'm not so sure now, because like the amount of elements that are used in the whole thing kind of, you know, like changes a bit, if you will. So like I'm not too sure actually, but I think that overall though, so far the fight itself as well has a lot of like keeping an eye out for things, which I think that's what's going to actually make this fight a little bit more difficult, is where things drop and how things go off, and the fact that you got to like adjust and move around for it too, which again is my favorite part about any fight that they do in this game. So like I'm really hoping that they just maintain that going into the whole tier. This thing is what actually threw me way off guard. The giant rain thunderstorm cloud thing, and the fact that it starts moving is actually like that actually kind of scared me when I did that for the very first time. So that's why I'm so under the impression that like moving the bosses around during this is going to be like very fascinating. I'm actually really looking forward, I think, to this fight the most, next to I mean, honestly, I'm looking forward to all of the fights. I don't even know why I'm pretending like there's not one that I dislike. This entire race here so far has been peak content in terms of battle design and like usability of the arena. And I'm very impressed with how they've been executing this so far. So it's been like such a fun experience. And I'm hoping that they maintain that in the Savage version, while like not only introducing the difficulty at a much higher level, which I think that they're going to, considering like what they talked about, right? They said like, oh, you know, we want to make sure that we actually allocate difficulty, because the first raid tier, not the hardest, but like, you know, it was pretty easy, like a breeze in the park for a lot of players, which like, yeah, sure, fine, which like whatever. But I think most important though, like we'll see, right? Now I want to point out real quick, if you saw that, she actually like indicates where the target is being placed, which is actually very fascinating to see this here actually where the target is being placed. I actually wasn't ready for that. So I thought that I actually had her incorrectly positioned because she's not in the middle, right? But she actually points it in place, but I don't think I saw that the last time. That's why I wasn't sure if this was like a mechanical, like, because like it would make more sense that she would just jump to the middle and put the target in front of her, but she actually like places it in the location. So I'm wondering if that's also going to be involved in the Savage variation, if you will, because a lot of the stuff that we've seen throughout this fight actually kind of like makes sense for the most part, until you like, once you like see it the very first time, you're kind of like, oh yeah, okay, like I understand that's what that was, like the bomb falls down instead of AoE in place, bomb with wings. I thought that the bombs were gonna actually actually animate across, not like just like the other side, if you will. But I feel like that's also gonna mess up a lot of people, and it definitely caught me too, so I get that. But yeah, the arrow and the target thing is actually gonna be like very, very fascinating, and I'm almost hesitant to like actually think about it though. Like I just don't know how they could like mix and variety that up, but like we'll definitely get like an idea for it for sure. So I can tell you right now, like as incredible as the beat is for this song, best beat, like I think it's crazy to think that this is like a Final Fantasy XIV song, okay? Let alone like a Final Fantasy song. So whoever, I mean, I'm guessing it's Soken, but yo, this song is godlike, okay? When they release like the soundtrack on Spotify and or like iTunes or wherever, I'm going to be going like so insane over this song. Song is so good. And I think that the song actually makes up so much for it too, for the fight's sake as well. So I'm like looking so unbelievably forward to this fight, because I feel like I'm gonna love the song enough, and that's gonna push me to love the fight even further also, because the first raid tier did that too. The entire first raid tier made me just feel like it was just so perfect for like battle design content with like music involved. Like it just worked out perfectly, So I'm really looking forward to seeing this come into play as well with this fight, and I can't wait to find out more about it. So we'll see. Like I said, a lot of things are here showcased for the fight. We got the motif painting on the panels, we got the modifications to those panels, tank busters and stack markers, and paintings from the airsoft guns. Her graffiti is going to come into light, and I can't wait to find out more about that in Savage version. So I hope you guys do too. If you have any theories about this too, please do let me know. I'm definitely looking forward to hearing people's thoughts and ideas for it, and we'll definitely keep in mind of it too. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.